All right, so in this video, we're going to go over our environment, the tools we'll be using, stuff like that. Some of it is needed and some of it is recommended. If you want to follow along with the course to a T, I would suggest kind of trying to match the environment that I'm using. All right, so first thing you're going to need is Node.js, and there's no way around it. You need to install this. Node.js comes with something called NPM, which is the Node Package Manager. That's what we use to install packages like Create React App, which we'll use to generate basically a starter or a boilerplate React application. Later on, we're going to build a full stack application where we install Express and a bunch of other stuff with NPM. So just go to nodejs.org and install it if you don't already have it. So next thing you're going to need is a text editor. I would highly recommend Visual Studio Code. If you want to use Sublime or Atom or something like that, that's fine. But there are a couple extensions I'll be using for VS Code. And again, if you want to follow along to a T, then I would suggest using it. And it is cross-platform. So next thing is Git, which is a version control system. I'm sure that most of you know how to use Git, at least the basics. I would suggest making commits as you go along through the course. But the reason that you need it is if you want to follow along and deploy the second project to Heroku, which is a hosting platform, you actually use Git to get your files on the server. So that's why you need to install that. Okay, so the next two are Chrome-based extensions. So we have the React Dev Tools, which will show us basically our React structure, all our components, props, state, all that stuff, right in the Chrome Dev Tools. And then Redux Dev Tools will do the same for Redux. It'll show us all the actions that are fired off, the state, all that stuff. Okay, and then the last one is Postman, which is basically an HTTP client. It's used to build or test APIs. In the second project, we'll be building an Express API, and we'll be using it to basically test out different requests to different routes. All right, so those are the main tools that we're going to use. Now I'm going to just quickly jump into VS Code so I can show you the extensions I'm using and the configuration. So I'm going to click on the little box here and just show you some of these. Obviously, you don't need all of these. The most important one I would say is this ES7 React Redux GraphQL React Native snippets. It's just a bunch of snippets, but it saves you a lot of time. You can just generate components on the fly, whether it's class-based or functional components, prop types, so you don't have to keep typing this out. It's a huge pet peeve of mine is typing out all the different prop types, but we can just simply do, for instance, PTN, PTO, and so on. So I will be using this quite a bit, and if you want to follow along, you should probably install this. So the next couple, they're not really needed, but they do help. I like them. So bracket pair colorizer will just colorize your brackets, your curly braces, your parentheses, kind of organize things visually. So just a little extension I like to use. Also auto rename tag. This will work in JSX as well. So basically if you rename the beginning tag, the ending one will also get renamed automatically. Okay, which I like. What else do we have here? I think the last one is Prettier that I would suggest, and this is just a code formatter, and you can set different rules. Like for instance, I have it so that it always uses semicolons, but it also uses single quotes. So if I have a double quote in my JavaScript or my JSX and I save, it'll automatically format to a single quote. Now, if you want it to format on save like I have it, then you need to go to your settings and you need to, let's just search for format on, and you'll see this right here, format on save. You need to check that if you want it to format on save. Okay, and it will also work with HTML, CSS, all that stuff. And if you just search for Prettier, actually it should be, we'll just search for it. So we'll just search for Prettier, and right here, if I click on this, you'll see all the different rules you can set. So for instance, I have, where is it? Right here. So JSX single quote I have checked. What else? Semicolons. So I choose to use semicolons. So if I save the file and a line is missing a semicolon, it will automatically add it when I save. Single quote, tab width 2. So if you want to mess around with some of these settings, you can do that. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you, and that's the settings.json file. So this is basically my custom settings. You can see I have my font size beefed up so you guys can see it. It's up to you on, if you want to use a bigger font size or whatever. I'm sure you have some settings already that you prefer. I'm using 2 as my tab size. Word wrap is on. But what I wanted to show you is this right here. So Emmet is a fantastic tool. It's included with VS Code. It allows you to type really fast HTML. But if you want it to work inside of JSX, you just want to add this config value. So it's emmet.includedLanguages and then an object with JavaScript and then JavaScript React. Okay, if you do this, you'll be able to use Emmet within JSX. And then, I think that should be it. So these are just some other settings that don't really have anything to do with what we need. So that's it, guys. I just wanted to kind of show you my environment, the extensions I'm working with. I'm sure that you have some of your own that you like, and that's fine, but I just wanted to show you what I'll be using. All right, so that's it. Let's move on to the next video.